Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to be working on our printing plate. This is our printing plate from listening to music. So pretty much all day today we're going to be listening to different types of music, and we're not just going to be focusing on one song, we're going to be focusing on many different songs and elements from each song that really stick out to you. So, you're going to get a printing plate like this. This piece of paper you will not cut. This is what you will actually glue everything onto. You're going to realize that this is 7 inches by 7 inches, and the paper that you are going to be cutting is larger. So make sure that everything you're cutting is only as big as your printing plate. So as we're listening to music, you can either look through your sketchbook at previously drawn things from music that we were listening to from other weeks, or you can listen to the music that you're listening to now and start to draw different organic, geometric, repeating shapes, different things like that. So I can listen to the music that I'm listening to right now, and it seems very organic, very flowy. So I can go through on this piece of paper and just start to draw some different shapes that I'm experiencing through my music. And I could keep going through drawing different things. And to fill my paper, you can get another sheet of paper from me, but make sure that you're really using your space wisely in the paper that I have given you. So at this point, you're going to start to cut out your pieces. If I could find my scissors. And so as you're cutting out your pieces, make sure that you're really paying attention to where you're placing them and realizing that when you print, it's actually going to be a mirror image. So I'm going to start to cut these pieces out. And you have to also realize that when you are printing, nothing that you just draw, like if you drew a line, it wouldn't show through the print. So you have to make sure everything is cut out of paper and really layered on top of each other. So if you think back to any time that you've done a cut paper collage, and everything has to be layered on top and it all has to be cut out of paper, this is the same kind of thing. So again, I'm just going to go through and cut my shapes out. Paying attention to where I'm going. And then, once I have all my shapes cut out, I can start to arrange them onto my printing plate, figuring out if I like the composition. And composition is when you're setting up a picture and what it actually looks like all put together. If I like my composition of mine. So I wouldn't glue it down right away. I'd really pay attention to how I'm setting up those pieces together. Cut out this last little bit, and I'll talk to you about a little bit more about composition. Make sure all your little scraps of paper go in the trash cans. So I'd start to arrange them on top of each other or near each other. Every time that you have a piece of paper overlapping, it will create a line on your printing plate, so be aware of that. If you don't want that line to show through, you actually have to cut that piece off, or it will show through very well on your print. Also, when you're printing and making a printing plate, everything has to be glued down really well, because when you take a brayer, and a brayer is one of these that you roll ink onto it, every time that you roll across or roll up, if it's not really well glued down, it's very likely to peel up, and in the middle of printing you actually can't glue back down, because then it'll be wet glue and the brayer will just pull that right off too. So you really have to make sure that everything is really well stuck down, all the edges, and that you don't just have random shapes, that you're really paying attention to what you're listening to and reflecting different sounds that you've heard. So you can draw them out, or you can freeform cut them. It's fine. So I have a couple shapes now, and I can start to arrange them and think how I want them to interact with each other, and thinking about how I want to fill up my paper. Again, remembering every time I have a piece overlapping. Okay, so You're going to create a bunch of different shapes and overlap them. The more that you have, the more interesting your piece is going to be. At this point, you'd glue them all down and really make sure that everything is solid and glued down and that you really don't have any of these sticking up edges. And once you've done that, you're going to flip your paper over, and on the back of it, you're going to write your name and your teacher's name. This should be a pretty straightforward day, just pretty much listening to music, cutting out shapes, and gluing them how you feel they reflect the music the best. Don't forget about repeating shapes if you have repeating sounds, and don't be afraid of really bold, large shapes if you have bold, large music that you're listening to. So if you have any other questions, let me know.